Hello and welcome to the Michael Talks Football channel. Today we're going to be previewing and predicting the October Asia World Cup qualifiers. We have two more match days to be played in October, so let's get straight into it. We're going to start off with Group A. Group A, the standings are like this. So Iran is so far in first place, 2 matches played, 2 wins. Good start for them. 4 goals scored after beating Iraq 3-0 in the second match day. South Korea are in second with 1 win and 1 draw, obviously drawing 0-0 with Iraq and 1-0 win over Lebanon. The UAE comes in third place. They had 2 draws. Syria are in fourth, 1 draw, 1 loss. Lebanon are in fifth place with 1 draw and 1 loss, and Iraq are in last place, unfortunately. So let's go through the matches that are going to be played in October. We have, obviously, first off, we have South Korea versus Syria to be played in South Korea. So the big issue here for South Korea is they got to win this match, because I think the next matches that they have after this, they're going to go away to Iran. Then they got UAE, which is going to be their last home game. Then they have Iraq away, Lebanon away, Syria away, and Iran still home, and then UAE away. So this is going to be their third home match already, and they got to win these, because otherwise they're going to travel to the Middle East constantly. We'll see if then they have like a home base then maybe in the Middle East when they play their away matches, but time will tell. So for this matchup, South Korea, they got to get Hwang Hee-chan going. They got to get Heung-min Son going, because really they've only scored 1 goal in the first 2 games. Yes, other teams are going to be a bit more defensive against South Korea, but still they have quality players, South Korea. So I expect much better from them attacking wise. So let's see then if Hwang Hee-chan, Heung-min Son can step up then for South Korea. For Syria, they're actually going to have now Omar Al-Samad back into the squad. I don't believe he was playing in the September matches, so he is a very big addition considering that he has 26 appearances for Syria and 15 goals. So he's a key player for them. Maybe him, Al-Samad, and Karbin, if those two can link up with each other, maybe then, because I think they play with the 1-striker formation, Syria. So we'll see then if Al-Samad or Karbin is going to start, or if they put Al-Samad or Karbin on the wings, but I doubt that. So we'll see then if they switch the formation for those players. But for this matchup, I think it has to be a South Korea win. I think Syria are going to come into this match very defensive, but I'm going to go with a 1-0 win here for South Korea. They love not conceding, and they love just scoring 1 goal. So South Korea, 1-0 win is here. Next matchup we have is Iraq and Lebanon. Iraq. Man, it was so promising in the second round of qualifiers. And then as soon as Dick Advocat has come into the squad, it has been an absolute downfall. I don't know if it's just something with the federation and the manager and the players that play outside of Iraq or something like that, but it is not going well at all. And then when I was looking at the squads, there's no Boutros. He didn't get selected for Iraq. There's no Meram. So they're not even bringing some of their good players from outside of Iraq. So, I mean, Ali Mohnad, he's got to step up for Iraq big time. Will that happen? They have to win this game against Lebanon if they want to have any chance of qualifying to Qatar. Because if they don't win this match, and if it's a draw, it might already be done for Iraq. So they have to win this matchup. For Lebanon, we know they're going to just be defensive. We know they're just going to set up defensively. Mustafa Matar, who was absolutely brilliant against South Korea, just saving them. Obviously, they still conceded the 1 goal, but he's got to step up for them. Otherwise, Lebanon, I think they're just happy to get more development, improve the players that they have. So I has to be an Iraq win here. If they don't win this match, it's done for them already. It's done. And obviously, they played 2 tough matches in the first 2 match days. So this is a good bounce back game for Iraq. So I'm going to go with a 2-0 win here for Iraq. And the last match in the 7th of October, it is the UAE versus Iran. So Iran have been absolutely fantastic in the first 2 match days. Actually, ever since Skokic has become manager of Iran, 9 matches, 9 wins, 100% record for him. Unbelievable stuff from him. And when you got players like Jahanbash, Asmoon, Godos, Daremi, I mean, I could go through the lists, but then they just have good philosophy going on. They have a good system. Against Iraq, they didn't have a lot of possession of the ball. I think it was like 48% possession of the ball. But anytime they went forward, they were dangerous, especially Daremi, Osman, and Jahanbash. Those 3 were fantastic attacking-wise for Iran. So if that can continue for them, they're going to be good in this October window for Asia World Cup qualifiers. For UAE, I mean, they were okay, but if you want to qualify to Qatar, you got to beat Lebanon and you got to beat Syria, especially when I think Syria was a neutral ground. So UAE, they got to win this game, and this is going to be a tough matchup for them. Ali Mahmoud has got to step up. I'm looking at him to step up. Other than that, I think this is going to be a very close game, though. I think UAE, they're going to set up defensively, and then Ali Mahmoud is going to try and get the goal here. But I think Iran have too much quality. I'm going to go with the 2-1 win here for Iran. I think they'll concede, but I think they'll still win the match. Maybe Osman Taremi will get the game-winning goal. So Iran to win the matchup 2-1. The next matchups then for the 12th of October, we have Iran versus South Korea. It's one of the weirdest rivalries in international football. These two nations, footballing wise, don't like each other that much, and maybe we should have a deep dive into it why they don't, but maybe that's for another video. But this is obviously the top two teams in this group. I predicted that these two teams would qualify to Qatar, so this matchup is going to be absolutely scintillating to watch. Now, I believe this game is going to be played in Iran, but there's going to be no crowd, so that's kind of a shame to see. Now, can they, attacking wise, Iran, are they going to try and dominate the ball more, or is it going to be more South Korea dominating the ball? Let's see how Skokic is going to set up his team. Or will South Korea, with their quality players, try and break down this Iran defense? Because now this Iran defense has been very, very solid lately. Or maybe Paulo Bento, the South Korean manager, can do something about that. He can maybe be a bit more counterattacking wise when you have counterattacking players like Hwang Hee-chan and Hong Yoon-min Son and Hwang Hui-jo, these sort of players. But this is going to be a fascinating game to watch. Maybe I should do a watch along for this, because this is a very good game. Two quality teams, two teams I think that will qualify to Qatar. So for this match, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a winner in this. I think this is going to be a draw. I think this is going to be a very feisty game. I think both teams are high quality teams, two of the best teams in Asia, of course. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw here between Iran and South Korea. And then the next matchup, we have Syria and Lebanon. I think Syria are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a comfortable win for them. I'm going to go with 2-1 win here for Syria. And then the last match in October is the UAE and Iraq. Both of these teams, they're going to be fighting it out for the third place in this group. Iraq obviously did not have the good start in September. UAE didn't play the best opposition in Syria and Lebanon and only got 2 points out of that. So both teams got to win this matchup. I think it might be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw between Iraq and UAE. I think both teams will cancel each other out, but I think there will be goals. But I'm going to go with the 2-2 draw here between UAE and Iraq. So you guys let me know your predictions for Group A with these games, and how are you feeling about your nation's chances heading into October matches? Let me know, guys. But let's move on to Group B. Then we have Group B, and the standings so far in Group B is Australia are in first place, 2 wins out of 2, 6 points. Saudi Arabia are in second place, 2 wins out of 2, 6 points. Oman are in third place. Astonishingly, they beat Japan in the first match day. Great result for them. They got 3 points after they lost to Saudi Arabia in the second match. Japan are in fourth place with 3 points, and then the bottom two teams are Vietnam and China. So let's go through the matches for October in Group B. First matchup we have, it is China versus Vietnam. I think both of these teams are fighting it out for the last place in this group, or the fifth place in this group, at this point, because both teams, Vietnam, this is a great story. I did a video about Vietnam, but they've played two quality teams in Australia and Saudi Arabia. They did well against Saudi Arabia until they got the red card and the penalty, and that completely changed the game for them after they took the early lead in the match. But yeah, they had some chances against Australia, but they just can't really keep possession, and that's the problem. Maybe they're going to try and go out more at this China squad, and we'll see about that. And then for China, it's been absolutely putrid for China, losing 1-0 to Japan and losing 3-0 to China. 3-0 to Australia, excuse me. So it's not been good so far for China. I don't know where this team is going or what their identity is. Wu Lei hasn't really been involved with the squad in those two matches. So I think I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw here between China and Vietnam. Although I can see Vietnam getting a win. Maybe if Vietnam can get a win here, and then in the 12th of October they can beat Oman as well away. Who knows? Maybe Vietnam are back into getting into contention for getting third place or second place in the group. But I don't think either team are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw between China and Vietnam. And then the second match, massive match. It is Saudi Arabia versus Japan. Obviously, these two teams, Japan losing the first match day to Oman, but then beating China in the second match day, and then Saudi Arabia obviously beating Vietnam 3-1 and beating Oman 1-0. For Saudi Arabia, though, in that Oman match, I think it was like the last 10 minutes, and Oman had so many chances. I think they hit the post from a corner. They had a great, glorious chance. I think it was the sub for Oman who missed the open net, so Oman could have definitely equalized against Saudi Arabia. But when you got a player like Salah Al-Shariri for Saudi Arabia, the striker, who has now 9 appearances and 6 goals, he is an absolute goal scorer. So let's see how Japan are going to come into this game. Is Saudi Arabia just going to try and counterattack more, or is Japan going to dictate the possession? It's going to be fascinating to see how this matchup goes. Obviously, it's going to be played in Saudi Arabia, so maybe Saudi Arabia will want to be more on the front foot and be more assertive under their manager, Hervé Renard, obviously, who's a great manager. But, Japan, they got to get some good striker player. I'm looking at Furuhashi, I'm looking at Soko, I'm looking at Minamino, but Minamino hasn't really gotten any minutes. These players got to step up for Japan, because the striker play hasn't been good enough. They have a lot of quality players, but the striker is just not there. It's kind of like South Korea. They don't have a striker who can get them the goals. If they had some strikers, it would be a different story. So Furuhashi has got to step up, and Osako has got to step up for Japan. For this matchup, though, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how these two teams are going to play against each other. Is it going to be 50-50 ball possession, or is one team going to dictate more of the possession, or is the other team? Well, it's just really interesting to see how this game goes. For this matchup, though, I think I'm going to go with the Saudi Arabia win here. I've been very impressed how they have done, even though the last 10 minutes I talked about versus Oman, it wasn't great, where they were very defensive and just trying to hold on to the lead, but sometimes you got to do that away from home. So I think for this game, I'm going to go with the Saudi Arabia win here, 2-1 for them. A little bit shocking, but I think Saudi Arabia are very, very, very good team attacking wise under their manager, Hervé Renard. And the next matchup we have, it is Australia versus Oman. Oman, who has just been the surprise package so far, in my opinion, the World Cup qualifiers. I thought they were going to finish last place in this group, and it wasn't going to be pretty. But man, they did so well against Japan. Anytime they counterattacked against Japan, it was great to see. Then against Saudi Arabia, yes, they were unfortunate not to get the equalizer, but I thought they played well, especially in the last 10 minutes, like I've talked about. And then for Australia, under Graham Arnold, I've been shocked, really. I thought it was going to be a little bit more of a struggle for them, but when they play in their first 2 matches, they've played Vietnam and they've played China. It's been a bit of easy opponents. So let's see how they're going to do against Oman, which is going to be a much tougher test for Graham Arnold squad. But Mobile has been playing well. Boyle has been doing well for Australia. So these players got to step up. Obviously, we know about Trent Sainsbury. He's been always a solid player for Australia. So I'm going to go with an Australia win here. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think they're going to grind it out, kind of like they did against Vietnam, where they didn't have a lot of chances and they had like 75% ball possession, but I think Oman will provide a tougher test than Vietnam. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win here for Australia in match day 3 for 7th of October. So we're going to move on to match day 4, and it's another matchup, a huge matchup for Japan, and it's pretty much a must win for them. Japan versus Australia. Obviously, then in this matchup, Japan will be on 3 points after 3 games. So they're going to be they got to win this game. They're going to have to come in with a lot of pressure, but it's at home. Australia, they're going to be defensive. Let's see how the defense can hold up. I'm going to go with the Japan win here then. I'm going to go 2-1 for Japan. I think they're going to finally get their campaign back going on in this matchup. Then we have Saudi Arabia versus China. I think it's going to be an easy win for Saudi Arabia, 3-0 for them. Then we have Oman versus Vietnam. I think Oman, they're starting to prove that they are going to be a top 4 contender in this group, trying to push for that 3rd place with Japan. So Oman are going to win this matchup against Vietnam 2-0. But those are all the predictions and preview for Asia World Cup qualifiers in October. Obviously, I'm going to review the matches after the first match day and the second match day, and we'll talk about the games then and how the teams are heading into their next matches. So stay tuned for that, guys. If you're new around here, remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day and peace, and enjoy the World Cup qualifiers, and good luck to each of your nations. Have a beautiful day, guys.